everyone. Oh, I don't know if anyone's on yet. If you're on and you could say hello in the chat, that will be awesome so they know you're here. Hi, Amy. You're off today. How nice. I'm going to be using your beautiful card sketch for today. So I'm excited about that. I'm just going to give it another minute and then I'll get started. See if anyone else pops on. Oh, thank you. Pull out a sheet of this. This is double-sided gold cardstock. Ooh, I didn't know that. I think this is the first time I've opened this pack. Oh, that's cool. All right. But I'm going to move the gold cardstock out because all of my lights are bouncing off of it. And I see it like reflecting onto the screen. All right. So I'm going to get started. Hopefully a few more people pop on during the live. But I'm going to be doing a card today, possibly 2 cards. We'll see how long it takes me. So the first card I'm going to make is going to be based on this sketch from that Amy made for the 24 cards challenge. So I'm going to go for a kind of, I don't know if I'd call it monochromatic, but it's going to be very toned down, I guess I would say. So let me get started. I'm going to make a card base out of this really heavy cardstock that Michelle carries in the shop from the Harmony Paper Company. And this is really awesome cardstock for your card bases. It's super heavy. It scores nicely. It is the premium solid core cardstock in brilliant white, and it is the 110 pound. It's awesome for card bases. There's no flimsiness to them, and this I already had a card base made, so let's just get that folded up. Take out my trusty bone folder to get that crease nice. There we go. I'm going to set this aside. So I love that this has like 4 little areas, and then you have a larger embellishment in the center, and then your sentiment down below it. So what I'm going to do is, my plan is to make a 4x4 square and stamp the ferns and some of these splotches all over it, and then heat emboss it with gold embossing powder. Then once it dries, I'm going to cut it into 4 pieces. So it's like one continuous image that's like spaced out. And then I'm going to, for my focal image, I'm going to go with just this small dragonfly. So let's see how that works out. Maybe it'll be good. Maybe it won't. We'll see. But first thing I'm going to do is cut a 4x4 inch piece of cardstock. I'm using a navy blue cardstock for that. I like gold embossing on dark colors. I think it really makes it pop nicely. All right, so here's my 4x4 square. And let's grab a piece of scrap paper to do the embossing with. So I'm just going to First thing I'm going to do is just go over it with an anti-static powder tool so we don't have any stray embossing powder going all over the place. And let me grab, I should have been more prepared for this. I don't have any of my blocks out. Oh. All right, here we go. So I am going to use this stamp set from Katie Petit Art and Creative Studios. This is the Maker Series Fern Valley. And I love this fern stamp. It's so pretty. So I'm going to stamp with this first. I need a bigger block. Hold on. Let's see if it's better on this one. Okay. There we go. I do love heat embossing, and I especially love heat embossing with metallics. Metallics are my favorite. I think also because they look like the most magical when you heat emboss because they turn from like a dull powder into a beautiful shiny coating. You know what I mean? Let's go here. And this way. Oh, you guys can hear that my washing machine is done. And one more. What direction do I want to go in? Let's do the butt. Let's do the butt of the fern flower right there. Fern flower, fern leaf, fern fronds. What are they called? Fronds, I think. All right. Let me grab a smaller block. And I'm just gonna grab a little one of the paint splotches. And anywhere that I have a little empty area, I'm just going to put a little bit of splotching. Boop. All right. That's good. Now let's put some embossing powder on it. Take this out. I didn't do the best job of cleaning this out last time, but that's okay. All right, so this is, oh my gosh, this is a big mess. It's like all around the edges. Ugh. All right. I don't know what I did when I opened that one, but this is just Ranger Gold embossing powder. All right, that looks good. Set this off to the side. All right, I'm going to get my heat gun going now. So it's going to get loud for a minute. I got to warm it up. And you know what I just realized? I just realized that my math was off. I don't need 4 by 4. I needed 2 by 2. 2 by 2. So I might be cutting this down. so that it's the actual size that I need, but I think it'll work out fine. So I'm actually going to hold this with my tweezers. Okay, and then I'm just going to heat the back because I feel like when you heat the back, it kind of helps straighten the paper out because you know sometimes the paper you could see it's like not laying flat. All right, so that's done. All right, so now my math was off. Oop. Can you tell I'm like an agent of chaos this morning? All right, let's see. Where do we want to do 2 by 2? Maybe I'll do 3 by 3. Let's try 3 by 3 and see how that works. So let's cut a half an inch off of each side. All right, so that's good. And then I'm going to cut this to 1.5 by 1.5. Oops. I'll cut this at 1.5. I just want to keep the orientation of these so that I know what way was the full image. Okay. So it was like this. All right. Now let me get, so this was, what did I say this was? This was a 3 by 3. So let me cut 3.25 by 3.25 out of the gold. All right. That looks good. So I'm going to start gluing these down. Okay, there we go. And then the last square. All right. So let's see how this is shaping up. So that's going to go there, and then my sentiment's going to go down here. So let's add another piece of navy. I'm going to do this one at 4 by 5 1/4. And I'm actually going to run it through an embossing folder just to give it a little bit of texture. This is just an embossing folder from my stash. Just bring up the machine. I have to remember what sandwich I use for embossing. I never can remember that. Let me see. How to emboss how to build a cutting die. Oh, here we go. I think this is a 3D embossing folder. It's kind of thick, right? That's a 3D embossing folder, or is this a regular embossing folder? All right, well, we're just going to try it as a 3D, and then we'll go back and do it as the other kinds. Oh, I need plate adapter D. All right, here's D. And, ooh, that doesn't seem to be going through right. Wouldn't that work for a 3D embossing folder? Why is it not going through? No, I don't want to break my machine. Okay, hold on. Let me see. Maybe I just need to use a cutting plate. Try that. That's not enough pressure. Oh my goodness. This is like crazy. I think maybe that is for if you use a Spellbinders 3D embossing folder. Oh, it is not going through. What is... Maybe I won't be using this embossing folder. I don't know. Let's just run it through and see. No, that didn't do anything. Okay. All right. Let's... So it didn't work with this. No, that was not enough. Let me see. All right. Maybe we just won't use this embossing folder. All right. Let's see what else I have. That I could use. Well, that was a bummer. Sorry. I thought that would be okay. Let me see if I have a standard one that I could use in here. What about wood grain? Should we try a wood grain one? This is a standard size one. So let's try a wood grain. Let's see if that works better. I don't think that did anything either. I'm about to give up on this. Ay. All right, let me see. Let's try this. No, that's not going to work. Let's try this, this, and this. And if this does not work, then I don't know. Here we go. All right. Finally, we have something working here. Ta-da! All right. So it's not what I wanted, but it's what we're getting for today. So we have a wood grain. I don't use embossing folders a ton. So I guess, I don't know, that was a Stampin' Up one. I guess they are different thicknesses than the Spellbinders ones. But anyway, here we go. All right, so we're going to put that there. And then this would go here. All right, let's make our little dragonfly. So I'm going to do the dragonfly on white. Let me just grab a scrap of white. And you know what? Let's also do a sentiment while we're at it. So I want to do with sympathy, because I don't really have many sympathy cards in my stash, and I usually hate making them, but sometimes we need to have them on hand. So, and I feel like this is a nice color combo and design for a sympathy card. So, just conditioning this a little bit. All right. Condition this one. Oh, and this is the Waffle Flower Paper Hugs Sentiments, Stamps, and Dies, in case anyone wants to know. I don't know if Michelle still has them in the shop, but you can always, if you're interested, you could either go on wait list or send her an email. But she is taking a few days off because her new granddaughter is here. So she's going to be helping out her daughter with the baby and also just getting lots of baby snuggles in for the next couple of days. So if you don't get a response back quickly, that is why, and don't worry, she will get back to you. She's just taking some family time right now. All right, so I think that looks good. I'm gonna just scoop up some embossing powder, shimmy it back and forth, make sure I'm getting enough on there. Okay, that looks good. Make some room here. All right, I'm gonna heat these. All right, that looks good. Here, I'll hold it up to the camera so you can see all that metallic goodness. And let me cut these off. All right, so I'm going to fussy cut out the dragonfly because we don't have any dies that go with this set. I don't know if that was something that if Katie Petite made dies that go with this set or not. I can't remember, but I don't have the dies that match this fern set. Amy, do you remember if they made dies that go with this set? I really can't remember. If they did, I mean, you would only really need the fern and the dragonfly. It would be probably a very affordable die set if they did end up making one. Right. All right, so I am not the world's best person for fussy cutting, but I get by. That's why I like, yeah, I don't remember if they had a die set for this set or not. All right, but there is a die set for this um, sentiment set. So let's see. So with sympathy, and waffle flower is awesome because they number them all. So with sympathy is number 4. I'll show you up here. You can see it's number 4. So now I just look. I think it's this one. And if you can see on the die here up in the corner, when it focuses, there's a 4 there. I don't know if it's going to focus because I'm really close to the camera. So I'm just going to line it up. Nicely, and I'm just going to grab, I just have some low tack tape, and I reuse my low tack tape until I can't reuse it anymore because it just simply does not stick any longer. um, so that's why it looks kind of crummy, but oops, put this, all right, make this sandwich. We're going to run this through. And you see it's going to beautifully cut out your sentiment. Love it. Just stick my tape over there. Put my die back. All right, let's put this back down on the floor. All right, I think we're ready to put this together. And then I have pulled out some sequins, and we'll see if there's any sequins I want to use. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to glue this down to the card front. And I like to use wet glue when I'm gluing down an embossed card front because I feel like it gets in all the little nooks and crannies a little bit better. Sometimes when I have used like tape runner to glue an embossed card front down, it's fallen off because it's like, the embossed panel is lumpy and bumpy. So I recommend using wet glue. Plus you get that added benefit of a little bit of wiggle time to make sure it's on there nice and straight. There's some stray embossing powder on here. Just grab a paintbrush and just try to. Okay. All right. Next, I'm going to put this panel down, and I'm going to glue this on. Yeah, I like wet glue. The only time I don't like wet glue is if I'm using a large piece and the paper is thin, because then I notice that the wet glue makes the paper buckle. But a lot of the stuff that I'm using for card making is pretty heavy, like not super heavyweight, but I think it's good quality. So, all right, so it's going to be laid out like this. I don't know if I like it there or kind of offset. Yeah, I think I'm going to offset it and put it in this. I have like this little bit of empty space here. I think I'm going to put it there. I'm sorry. I noticed my camera keeps going like this, like focusing weird. So I'm going to have to figure out how to stop it from auto focusing constantly. All right, I'm going to add some foam behind the little dragonfly. Oh, he's peeking out. I did not cut that foam down good. There we go. All right, let's add this dragonfly into that little empty space there. And then I'm going to put some foam behind my sentiment and put it right there. Okay. All right, and then this is going to go here. You know what would have been very pretty is if before I embossed this cardstock, if I took gold splatter and splattered the background with a fine splatter of gold, that would have been very pretty too, I think. Let's see, these are too coppery. That's too coppery. Maybe let's look at this. I have a bunch of these sequin mixes that are from Catherine Pooler, but I feel like I need to put them kind of on top. There's these. Or do they get lost? I feel like they get lost. Let's see. Just like regular gold sequins. And if nothing is going to work, then I just will say that's it. All right, let's see if a regular sequin works. Maybe I'll just do a sequin down by the sentiment. What do you guys think? What do you think? Sequins yes or sequins no? I'll bring it up a little bit closer to the camera so you can see better. I don't know. I don't know about the sequins. The color is also off, so I don't know. All right, let's scrap the sequins. I'm not going to do sequins. So that's it. That's the first card. How are we doing? Okay, we're halfway through. So the second card I was going to make is I was just going to play. But here, let me hold this up to the camera so you can get a good look at it. There we go. That's a good angle. So I'm going to set this aside. And we'll see how long we get. But what I was going to do was play with the Yana's Daisies die from Spellbinders. This was in a sale. Was it in the May sales? Might have been in the May sales. I just recently got it. So I thought it would be fun to cut it out and play with some daisies and maybe make a birthday card. I have this waffle flower set, which is an awesome set for anyone who's making birthday cards. It's called Inside Sentiments Birthday. So it has a couple of just happy birthdays and then all of these things that you can stamp inside the card. It's really awesome. I've used it a bunch of times just to put, not even using the happy birthday. I've already made the happy birthday on the outside, but the inside was blank on my card. And I just went and stamped, some of these on the inside. It was awesome. It's very handy to have. All right, let's put these sequins over here. Just do a quick little cleanup so I free up my block. Okay. And let's put these back on the blocks here. Dragonfly. All right, so with this, I'm going to do like an inlay technique with it. So I'm going to cut it out twice. I'm going to cut it out in white cardstock and in gold cardstock. And then I'm also going to cut the outline in vellum. So that's actually me cutting it out 3 times. I'll cut the daisies out twice and then the outline out once in vellum. So let's see if this scrap is large enough. Okay, so here is the outline. Here is the detailed part. Ah, perfect fit, perfect fit. Okay. I'm just gonna tape it on so it doesn't wiggle off. And I'm gonna run it back and forth several times through my die cutting machine just to make sure, because it is such an intricate die, I really want to make sure that everything gets cut. Okay, let's see how that went. Beautiful. Okay. So what I'm interested in from this is just this piece. Oh, let's pop that petal out. Just this. And these, I will put these in a little cup or tray, or I'm looking around to see if I have an empty cup or tray. I don't right now. So we'll just make a little pile of all these daisy parts. All right. And maybe I will do like use those on the inside. Let me clean this out. So let me here is my pokey tool. Where's my pokey tool? I can't find my pokey tool, so we're just going to use my tweezers, and we're just going to pop all these extra pieces out. All right, so now that's empty. I'm going to grab some white cardstock. And I'm going to do the same thing again. I'll go back and forth like 2 or 3 times just to make sure everything's cut nicely. Okay, let me see. All right. I'm going to grab a Post-it note. I'm going to see how that picks them up so they stay in like the order that they're in. All right, pick this up. All right, I'm not even going to take this out of the die yet. I'm just going to do this piece with vellum. Let me see if I have a scrap of vellum that'll fit. It's gonna fit on here. No, let me grab. Oh, where is my vellum? There it is. I'm just gonna cut half piece. And we're just going to cut this out. All right, nice. There we go. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to glue this gold outline onto the vellum piece and line it up. All right, so this is when the glue press comes in very handy. Make all these small little dots under all these petals. Okay. Yep. And I have to wipe up my mat after this because I'm missing it and I'm getting all glue on my mat. Okay. All right, let's see. How does this go on? I think it goes this way. I'm just going to wiggle it on until I get it in place. And I'm going to put that on that. While that's drying, I'm just going to grab a baby wipe and wipe up this glue. All right, so for the inlay, I'm just going to take a sticky mat that I have because I just want the pieces, because I'm going to do a little bit of shading on these pieces. There we go, that's good. I got a little bit of glue on the gold, but hopefully it won't dull it that much. But let's see. So the first thing I'm going to do, so I'm just using a sticky mat, and that's really just to hold my pieces in place. But I just want to kind of keep them in order. So, no, that didn't work the way I wanted it to. I'm just trying to pull those pieces out of the die. Did this not cut good? Okay. So what I'm just trying to do is I'm just trying to keep the pieces in order as much as I can, so when I go to put them back into the outline that I can see them, see where they go relatively easy. All right. And I just need to figure out where these went. Let's see. I think that these went somewhere I am probably overcomplicating this, but the easiest way to do this would be just to cut it out of a colored cardstock instead of what I want to do with the blending brushes, but you know me, sometimes I get a little extra with stuff. So, all right. And then these, where do these look like they went? Well, we're not going to worry about it. We're just going to stick them on wherever. And then I'll go back and glue them in later and see. And some more petals. And some more. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull the centers out and move them to a different part of the sticky mat. Let me move this. My sticky mat is not too sticky anymore. All right, and I'm going to just move this up here. And grab blending brush. So I'm going to need yellow and gray. And I need some yellow ink. Let me grab a yellow ink pad. And I am just going to gently ink these flower centers with yellow. And let's get these glued in first. So I'm going to use this tool to help me. I'm just going to put a dot of glue in each of the flower centers. And then I'm going to pick it up, and just like a puzzle, I'm going to add it back in. And pick it up. Except it's not being picked up by that on top of the sticky mat too well. And lay it back in. And pick it up. And lay it back in. So there's my flower centers. And I need a gray ink just to do a little bit of shading in the center of the flower. So I want a nice light color ink. So I'm going to use gray and the scrap. So I'm going to gray and tap it off a little bit. I'm just going to try to get a little bit of gray on the inside of the petals that will be like closest to the center to give them a little bit of a shadow. It's probably not showing up super well on the camera. Oh, you can see it a little bit on the camera. You could see that there's gray towards the center here. All right, let's glue these petals in, and then I'll shadow the rest because I've got about 10 minutes left here. And I want to just show you guys the inlay part. Trying to make enough room so everything shows up on camera good. Okay, let's see. So I'm going to dab some glue. pick up my petal. And place it in. Pick up my petal. Oh, I didn't put glue. Can't forget the glue, otherwise your flower is going to fall apart. And then place my petal in. The inlay technique can be a bit tedious, but I think it really makes for a beautiful effect when you're done with your card. Thanks, Amy. So I'll hold this up a little bit closer so you can see that the gray just makes a little bit of shadowing in the middle there. Let me just I actually think my tweezers might be a little bit more helpful than my gem picker for this. All right. Okay, and then here. All right, and this one has some shading on it as well. Okay, so now I'm going to go back. And add some more shading. And it's just like a puzzle. Now, one thing that I might do the next time I work with this is that I might get like an adhesive sheet and put some gold cardstock on, or whatever cardstock I'm die cutting, on an adhesive sheet and just make them into stickers, and then you can just easily stick it down without having to put glue on each one. It's just that adhesive sheets can be a little bit pricey. So, and liquid glue lasts forever, right? It's like takes forever to go through a whole bottle of liquid glue. All right, now let's see. I think that this one right here goes in here. Yep. And this one go here. Okay. How are we doing on time? All right, it's almost at 1 o'clock. So I will end this at the hour. And then what I will do is I will make the card and I will post it later in the Facebook group for everyone to see. But let's keep going for another 2 minutes and then I'll end it. So let me shade some more of these. Let's start gluing them down. That doesn't go there. That goes there. Okay. This goes in here. You're intently watching my assembly. I know this is not the most exciting part. That's why I put this towards the end. But yeah, so I think I'm going to then do this on a more brightly colored background to make the daisies really pop. Because if you put it on a white background, it'll kind of phase in. But if you put it like on a really bright background, then the daisies will really, in fact, maybe I will use this yellow color to pick up the centers of the daisies. That would be really pretty. So, all right, guys, it's 1 o'clock. I'm not going to make you guys watch the rest of me assembling these daisies. And yeah, I will just get this assembled and put it on a card. It's going to be a happy birthday card. I'm going to use these waffle flower sentiments to finish it up. Here's a piece of a daisy. And that's it. So thank you for watching with me. I'll post pictures of the cards. This is a card from the beginning of the video that I made based on Amy's sketch for this month. And have a very good weekend, and I'll see you guys soon. Bye.